The biggest issue for nice guys in relationships is whose needs the relationships centered around. Hey legend, I'm Mike Campbell, the anti-nice guy men's coach. I'm an author and the founder of the Everyday Legends Academy, and I support everyday men, in particular nice guys, in building self-worth, self-respect, and a deep sense of security so that you can kill your nice guy and get more from life, love, and the everyday. So into today's video. But first, be sure to thumbs up this video for more of these, ring the bell to get notifications every time we post a video, and if you're not subscribed yet, then hit that subscribe button to get first access to these and any new offers that we have that we will generally present at the end of a video if it aligns for you. Almost every nice guy I have worked with over the years, which is hundreds personally that I have worked with, whether that's they're in a relationship or they're getting into or want to get into a relationship, they tend to make one giant mistake. And I used to do this. In fact, nice guy syndrome runs so deep for so many guys, myself included, that I still sometimes see these kind of little hangovers in some of my own behaviors in my own marriage from time to time that I have to stamp out. It's going to make sense as I go through this. Nice guy tends to do is center the relationship around their partner's needs. They make their partner's needs more important than their own. And this is, if you've read anything or seen anything around attachment styles, it's kind of the classic anxiously attached person. There are always exceptions to the rule. Some nice guys are avoidant, but the thread through most nice guys is struggling to effectively communicate their needs and wants, leading to all sorts of guessing, all sorts of hoping, and all sorts of frustrations and resentments. Okay, now this is purely run by my insecurities, but my wife does lean more historically towards being on the more avoidant end of the attachment spectrum. And so she comes into a relationship tending to protect her needs more. I came in more on the insecure, anxious end of it. And so I would tend to ignore my needs and try and protect myself a bit more in terms of my insecurities. And what that led to is I was simply kind of default accommodating her needs, and therefore that would amplify anything going on for her by deferring my own needs so she could be happy. That was the logic in my head. I'll defer, I'll sacrifice, I'll ignore my own needs or disrespect myself in an attempt to try and make her happy. And what I would end up experiencing was I would be annoyed and ultimately I would be unhappy. And it didn't mean she was happy either. While she had some of her needs initially met, she couldn't count on me because I couldn't say no to her. Enter into that, all sorts of frustration, all sorts of resentment, that kind of conditional kindness that nice guys do, right? Right? And conditional meeting of needs. I'll meet your needs or kind of keep a tally if you will then meet mine. But hopefully you figure it out because I don't want to tell you. I don't want to communicate them in case you say no, in case I'm rejected, in case I'm shot down. All of this comes from this centering the relationship around her needs. Now, one issue is that I was happy to do it, but when we dig below it, I wanted it to come back to me in some kind of low-key backing track in my head, this kind of like, when's it going to be my turn? That I've recognized in myself in the past and that I've seen in so many nice guys as I've worked with them over the years. And this is what the nice guy does when he centers the relationship around his partner's needs. He then tends to hope that the partner will read their mind, guess, figure out what they want, what they need, and then meet their needs for them. But it doesn't happen like that. All that ends up happening when we don't communicate and we hope our partner will read our mind and guess is that we never get our needs met. And so then what the nice guy is doing is always deferring to the partner's needs, including when there is a choice to be made. So you think about this kind of, I think a classic kind of example where a partner will say, what do you want to do tonight? Or what should we eat tonight? And the nice guy just defers. Just whatever you want. Just whatever you want. I'm happy. Just whatever you want. I'm easy ozy. I don't really care. And just whatever you want. Just whatever you want, as long as you're happy. And the thinking in this is that it's being helpful and it's being nice. You can decide, and I will just sacrifice. My needs don't matter. Whatever you want. And whilst that might be helpful in some moments, it might give that opportunity, that person an opportunity for their needs to be met. What it tends to do is it doesn't provide any kind of direction, any kind of structure. There's nothing to count on. There's no leadership there. And that's ultimately what a partner is wanting. Not to have decisions made for them all the time, but have someone who can help provide and create structure and direction. Something to follow, something to lean on, something to trust and feel safe in. When there's no structure, there's no safety. So as a reminder, gentlemen, it is on you to at least instigate what you want. Now think about this in reverse. When we are hoping that our partner reads our mind so we don't have to risk communicating it and being shut down. Think about this in reverse. When you might have been set up by your partner or a partner in the past to read their mind, to guess. I'm just wanting you to figure out what I want and do that for me. It sucks. I can think about it right now. Like, don't set me up to fail like that. It's the worst feeling in the world. Please do not set me up to fail. Tell me what you want and I will do that for you. This is what nice guys do when you center the relationship around your partner's needs and then sit back hoping your partner does something about it for you and guesses what you want. It's ineffective, it doesn't work, and it leads to that frustrating cycle that we keep spinning in, that we keep understanding we are creating, co-creating, at the center of continuing. Now, one of the challenges here, if you're in a relationship, that kind of common dynamic for nice guys is that the partner, like my wife, tends to be more historically on that avoidance side, and the partner gets used to it. They're probably that way inclined anyway. And so it continues. You continue to suppress your needs, and the frustration grows, and the resentment grows. And so it is just continuing to hint and hope, hint and hope. And let me tell you right now, gentlemen, hint and hope is a terrible way to have your needs met. And so there's two really big problems going on here. Like for a lot of things with nice guys, what appears on the surface is different beneath. And so the logic and what it appears like on the surface is that it seems selfless, right? I will defer my needs. We will center the relationship around your needs. Your needs matter more. I'm selfless. I'm sacrificing myself. But it is actually a selfish move, an indirect way of essentially manipulating a partner into meeting your needs. If I am selfless, then you will see me as selfless and you will want to then meet my needs and show up for me. I'm going to try and wrangle you around to meeting my needs in this way without me being direct and upfront about it. And so it is an inwardly selfish, self-centered way of going about it. Enter the counter for so many nice guys is that we then swing to the other end, or we fear swinging to the other end, or we think that's the only option to outwardly be selfish and self-centered. They're the same thing, they're just done beneath the surface or above the surface. And it is neither of those things. The solution, gentlemen, is not to center the relationship around your partner's needs, but to center the relationship around the two of you. Both of your needs are equally as important. My needs, and this is the thing to say to yourself, my needs are just as important as their needs. Each of our needs are as important as the other. Not to swing to the opposite, but to meet in the middle. Center the relationship around owning your own needs first and then choosing to show up and meet the other. Both people are sovereign, independent, self-governing individuals in charge of their own needs and in charge of communicating when it involves the other. Communicating, requesting, speaking, of course, with the freedom to say no, to not have to meet someone's needs if you're not up for it. But open always to being in that conversation. Because if it's always a no, I'm choosing not to show up for you. I'm choosing never to meet your needs. I'm choosing never to make your needs important. Then I am by default making my own needs more important, or vice versa. Never to be held to unspoken resentments. As Neil Strauss says, unspoken expectations are premeditated resentments. And that is the breeding ground for the nice guy. So I want to give you a really quick analogy here to talk about breeding ground. I like to invite nice guys to think of a relationship like a garden. And a garden needs, when we've got two people who are the co-gardeners of this, you've got the two individuals and this thing that we're continually growing and co-creating together. It is both of our responsibilities to water the garden, to look after the garden, to pull the weeds, right? To do the work, fucking backbreaking work sometimes, to pull the weeds, to clear things up. If we want a beautiful garden with colors and flowers, if we want to pull the fruits and the vegetables, right, from the garden, we both need to work on it. It is a very skewed garden. If one person does all the work and the other person pulls all the fruits, it needs both of us to show up, that we can then continue to build it, co-create it, and we continue to both be able to benefit from it. So that is for you as a nice guy to first remind yourself that your needs are as important as theirs and vice versa. No one's needs are more important than the others. Of course, this will change momentarily. There will be moments when absolutely someone's needs are more important. But as a broad rule in your relationship, both needs equally as important. And then for you guys, you can do this work. I need to tell myself my needs are more as important than theirs. My needs are as important than theirs. For you guys, it means shifting from centering the relationship around one person's needs. And so often that means for you, the nice guy, going to your partner and having a conversation with them. And this might be terrifying, but it doesn't have to be that terrifying. You can go to your partner and you can simply say something like this. First of all, I want to talk about something in our relationship. I'm a little bit terrified, right? You get to set the scene. I'm a little bit terrified to have these conversations, but I'm going to because I recognize how important it is. My ask before I go into that is, can you make it safe enough for me? Can you support me by listening, having grace for me? And then we can approach this with an open mind. Can you agree to that? Now, they might say no. And if they say no, you say, cool, when can you? And if they continue to say no, pay attention to that because that's someone who's not willing to meet you. If they say no, we can do it X, cool. Don't force them into a conversation about the stuff when they're not ready for it. If they say yes, great. And then you say, one of the things I've been reflecting on is that historically and in our relationship, of course, this is true for you, I can tend to defer my needs. Now, by the way, you might be sitting there as a nice guy, and this is a subject for another time. This might be deeper work for you, where you don't allow yourself to have needs, where you think it's selfish to have needs, where you've always denied your needs. And this will play out in this form in a nice guy relationship in actual relationships. But you might say, I struggle to allow myself to have needs. In the relationship, I tend to defer my needs and I just kind of more prioritize yours. I make your needs more important than mine. And I'm always sitting here saying, I'm okay, don't worry about it. And I know that's not serving me because I have needs. I want to ask for things, but I've often been too terrified to do so. I also know that as a result of that, in our relationship, we tend to, in my experience, center the relationship around your needs. This is hard for me to say. I feel scared, whatever the language is, use it, out it. And moving forward, whether or not this feels true for you or not, I want to work on it because I know one of the things that I am doing is silencing myself and not having my needs met, and I'm not willing for that to happen anymore. What this looks like moving forward, I don't know, but I'm asking for your support as we look at our needs individually and how we address them collectively in our relationship. Are you open to supporting me in this? Listen to this, play it back, write it down if you need to. But remember, gentlemen, your needs are as important as your partner's. Own this, repeat it. I get to have needs. I get to have needs. I get to have needs. My needs are as important as my partner's. Communicate this with your partner. And gentlemen, if you are single, this means respecting yourself from the get-go. You get to be selfless. You get to sacrifice needs. You get to be kind and considerate and think about the other person first, of course, but never disrespect yourself. Never do so by hoping your selflessness will lead to you being chosen and prioritized. That is a little sneaky little manipulative weapon of the nice guy. You have to own what is important to you and share that. Even if someone doesn't agree or says no, that isn't a reason not to ask. It's something that you get used to hearing. You've got to get used to hearing no and respecting yourself anyway. Remember, a woman needs to respect you to feel safe with you. And if she cannot feel safe with you, it's going to be very hard for her to show up, to meet your needs and feel fully in with you and to let you in. And for this to happen, you have to respect yourself. And being in charge of your own needs is paramount for this. So remember, gentlemen, your needs are your responsibility. Beyond what you can meet yourself, it is still your responsibility to ask your partner, to communicate that with them, and to learn to be okay hearing no. Ask and state anyway. And if someone refuses to meet your needs, says that they can't, long term, not willing to, that is very important to pay attention to. Why would you be with someone who is not willing to show up and meet your needs? And think about this. Would a man who respects himself stay in a relationship, stay in a situation where his partner can't or won't meet his needs? Yes, in the short term, sacrifice, that's okay, absolutely. But as a global rule, reflect on that, think about that, and look at the situation. Nice guys, if you want more of this, comment below and we will send you the free Nice Guy action plan so you can make immediate change in your life. This action plan is a short video and a 3-page document for you to take action immediately and start becoming the anti-nice guy. If you want to be a man of value, you have to start valuing yourself, regardless if others do or not. And that starts with self-respect.